But I did go see Dune 2.
What'd you think?
I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good.
It's so good, man.
Yeah. You
It's
saw it
so
like just
good.
the other day, didn't you?
I saw it the second weekend it was out, and then I'm seeing it next week with my brother Rhett, because I just convinced him to watch Dune Part One like last week, and because he's not like he's a big movie buff, but like he was a film major in college, but he's not big into like sci-fi and fantasy. Like
Interesting. Huh.
doesn't like Star Wars, doesn't like, he's so on Marvel, doesn't like Lord of the Rings, like that's just not his thing. And I told him, I said, watch Dune Part 1. You'll like it. It's not as good as Part 2, but you'll like it. And if you watch it, I'll go see Part 2 with you. And so he watched it, so we're going to go see it next week. So I'm excited to see it again.
And I'll say this, like we watched Dune Part 1 right before we went to go see Dune 2. And that watching Dune 2 right after, like it makes Dune Part 1 like look really good. I think.
Yeah.
The way it's set up. And I think my biggest issue with Dune Part 1 was like I don't remember any of the characters because they're not really memorable because they have to go from thing to thing without like fleshing anyone out. But now Dune 2 does that really well.
Yeah.
I like that movie a lot.
See,
It wasn't too artsy either. Like that like going off of those books, I was expecting it to be like really like an artsy movie. And there's some beautiful shots and stuff. But it's not like self-indulgent, you know?
So have you read the books?
I have not.
Okay. I haven't either. I'm currently reading Fourth Wing because Trent told me I needed to read it.
Yeah, hurry up. I got someone else that wants that book.
Oh, really? Okay. Now that I'm done with the move and everything, I'll get it knocked out for you and get it back to you.
Oh.
But once I finish that, I think I'm going to read Dune.
It's tough.
I'm sure it is.
I've heard it's a slow read.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like told like a normal story either. It is like chronologically completely out of order.
Hey. Hard
Hey,
pass.
I've read all the Game of Thrones books and suffered through George R. R. Martin describing the different food items at the dinner table for like 4 pages. So, I think I can handle Dune.
You don't skip that yet? Oh, you're gonna love Fourth Wing, man. There's some graphic stuff in that book.
About food?
That was a
Yeah.
YouTube special.
Lots of
Lots of food.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, but so your big headline is you got a big bag of popcorn.
Yep. Look, Trent.
Oh dang! Holy nuggets!
Yeah.
Which one is that? What theater is that?
Premiere in the mall.
That thing still exists?
Yeah, I'm surprised too.
Yeah, jeez. The one on the north side is so nice.
The Cinemark, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, my one big headline, let's tie in some March Madness here because the first weekend has come and gone, and we're down to the Sweet 16. And it's a rather chalky Sweet 16. All the 1 and 2 seeds advanced. You only have, one double-digit seed. Is that right? NC State?
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, they're the 11 seed. But which I kind of thought going into this tournament, like, it felt like the entire college basketball season, everyone's like, oh, there's not a true number 1 team. Like, it would be Purdue one week and then Houston the next and then UConn the next. And I was like, man, last year was so the opposite of chalk, where you had San Diego State and FAU in the Final Four, that I was like, I bet this year I could see this year just being really chalk. And so far that's how it's played out. But
I'm second in our bracket challenge.
you are.
Let's go.
I think second to last behind.
I am last.
Yeah.
Matthew hit, friend of the show, 92.7%.
I had Morehead State beating Longwood in the final, so I'm not doing very good.
Is Matt
That's what
really
we get.
97%?
Yeah.
My cousin, who's leading my dad's office bracket, which also I'm 48th out of 48 in that bracket too, and that one I actually tried on, so that's embarrassing. She is 99.5 percentile. She's got 2 perfect regions so far.
Oh my gosh.
And that's out. And she's like, she goes to Baylor. Shout out Micah. What's up, homie? Love you. But she's killing it.
Wow.
I texted her and she said that like college basketball's her thing. So
Wow. Good for
like
her.
the only Sweet 16 teams she doesn't have are she had Kentucky and BYU in the Sweet 16, and those are the only 2 teams she didn't get. And that's absurd.
That is pretty nuts. I was
and she had Baylor. She went to Baylor. That makes sense.
yeah, I was a homer and put Baylor
game
in the
was
Final
rough.
Four, but
You see, my bracket was busted in the first 2 days, so I didn't watch much of the second 2 days.
there was some good basketball.
Yeah.
I thought for Baylor going in this tournament, I thought, they're either going to lose the first weekend or they're going to go to the Final Four, and there's no in between. And they lost in the first weekend. So they were so 3-point heavy. Like that's the only way that they could win. And I mean, in the first round matchup, Baylor they shot like 52% from 3. Like it was just a barrage, but threes weren't falling against Clemson. I'm really excited for this second weekend because some of these matchups you've got Illinois versus Iowa State should be fun, but really Friday, the second day of the Sweet 16, you have NC State versus Marquette, Gonzaga versus Purdue, Duke versus Houston, and Creighton versus Tennessee. Like that's going to be 4 just wall-to-wall action games. So I'm really excited for those.
So what game are you looking forward to the most?
Duke Houston.
Either Duke Houston, honestly,
that's a good one.
Gonzaga Purdue, because Gonzaga feels like this is the first year in a while where Gonzaga doesn't have the pressure on them to win a title. But I do think that they are capable of winning a title, and maybe this is what they needed was a year where no one was expecting them,
Yeah.
Because they smoked Kansas, and I know Kansas, they're missing their best player. Like this is not a typical Bill Self Kansas team, but still.
Yeah, last year when I had my child around in February, I stayed up till about 2 a.m. with her. Just we had a little system going, and I watched West Coast basketball. So Gonzaga, St. Mary's, San Francisco. I knew all about those teams, and I thought they were trash, and they all went out in like the first 2 rounds last year. And so I kind of went with that thought process going into this year, and I think they all won except St. Mary's. So that I didn't watch very much college basketball this year or leading up to it as much as I did last year. So that kind of sucks. But I'm really excited that I can't believe you guys didn't say UConn, South Dakota State or San Diego State. Yeah, a rematch of last year's final.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that'll
game.
be fun, but I think UConn's going to smoke them. I mean, they're 10.5-point favorites, Like I just looked at the line.
Give me San Diego State to cover that.
Yeah, UConn's at the point for me where like if they don't make it to the Final Four, I'm going to be shocked.
Yeah, they have a very easy path. I don't think Illinois is that good. Yeah. Iowa State can be good, but they can also lay an egg.
I don't think this will be the best game of the weekend. Maybe it will be, but I'm really eager to see what NC State looks like because they were just playing basketball literally every day for the past like week and a half. Mm-hmm. And now they have a week off before they play Marquette. So like, are they going to be rested and still play really well, or is they're going to kind of lose that momentum and come out flat, Yeah.
Just to tell you how much I didn't watch college basketball this year leading up to it, I didn't even know NC State won their conference. That was news to me.
It was such a surprise. Like they were below 500 in conference play this year.
Yeah.
And they're in the Sweet 16.
I mean, they won the ACC, which is one of the better basketball conferences for sure. So
Yeah. But I'm really excited for this second weekend because you're going to have 2 good days of the Sweet 16, and then obviously Saturday, Sunday with the Elite 8 matchups. Those are setting up to be really good. Wait, did y'all hear that?
I didn't hear anything.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. I'm about to do a fantasy draft for fantasy baseball, and the alarm just went off that it is live, and it blared in my headphones.
Andrew's hearing voices in his head.
Yes, I see dead people.
All right, let's get Rosie involved. Let's start talking about football.
Yeah. All
I'd
right.
contribute if I could.
All right, let's bring Rosie back in. Rosie, nice to see you again. Let's go through the NFL offseason, free agency, winners and losers. We can really take this wherever we want. It could be a player, it could be a team, it could be a coach, a fan base, fantasy implications, whatever. So, who has somewhere they want to kick us off as far as this NFL offseason discussion?
I kind of want to start with what I think is the biggest move or most surprising. Justin Fields going for a 6th-round pick to the Steelers.
He's so bad. Someone owes me money or a bottle of whiskey. I don't know who it is. Someone does. And Andrew's silence is speaking volumes right now.
You know what, Trent? If you go back and find the episode where we made that bet, I'll double the payout. I don't know what I got on the hook for, but I didn't write it down. So if you go find it, I'll double it.
Good thing I'm unemployed.
He said payout. Okay. Yeah, I mean, now Justin Fields is going to be backing up Russell Wilson, presumably.
For now.
I don't expect that to last long at all.
I don't either, to be honest.
I got someone in my sleeper league trying to tell me that Russell Wilson's going to be a starter the whole year. I'm like, he's going to be out of the league. Next year, he's going to be out of the league. This is exactly like what happened to Matt Ryan.
Cam Newton, too.
Cam Newton, yeah, he just can't hang. Like, he completely lost it. And going to the Steelers with Arthur Smith ain't going to help.
I'm so glad he's not in Atlanta anymore.
Yeah, true.
Oh, my gosh.
That's probably the biggest move for Atlanta.
And that's saying something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know, man. I am just shocked by the way the Justin Field thing came out. Like, it seems like, I don't know. It seems like the Bears overplayed their hand on that market where
they
they just
did.
kept thinking, oh, we can get a better deal. And then everyone else got quarterbacks. Like all the quarterback teams that we thought were going to be in play for Justin Fields, they all got quarterbacks, and the market just evaporated in thin air.
I haven't been the biggest Justin Fields guy. But I still think he has potential to be a good quarterback. So like teams like the Raiders or even the Vikings, like not giving a 6th-round pick for him is just kind of surprising to me.
That's a great segue. Not really.
You can segue. That's fine.
I was gonna say I think the Vikings have had their eyes on this draft class for a while.
JJ?
As far as quarterback, either JJ or they might make a big move for Drake May. I don't know. There's a lot of rumors swirling about, and I'm just kind of sitting back, just praying to God they don't give up a 25 first-round pick because that's going to be top 5. Maybe not.
I think with O'Connell, you're going to have a hard time being
Top
in
5.
the bottom 5.
I sort of agree,
He's too good of a
especially with the schedule they have this year. That's garbage.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't know. I feel like you just sit where they are now. Maybe trade up a little bit.
That's what I like. If you can get Drake May without giving up next year's first, fine. I'm fine with that. But if you trade both your first round picks for JJ McCarthy, I don't think I'm okay with that.
I don't think he's well.
Because I think
they're going
JJ
to because
McCarthy
I don't
could
think
be an
he's
11th round
not,
pick.
I don't think he's going to be there at 11.
Well, then you draft defense and ride with Sam Darnold, and I think I'm okay with that. I've drank the Sam Darnold Kool-Aid.
I
No,
know
you
you
just get
have.
Penix in the second.
No,
I like
I'll
Penix.
How
find
can
it.
he be out on Dude,
I
Penix
like
is good.
Penix.
I'll find a different team if Penix is the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings.
I
I'm
like
not
Penix
joking.
better than Jaden Daniels, to be honest.
I will not watch a left-handed quarterback. My favorite football team. I am racist against left-handed quarterbacks.
So it's like a stylistic, like aesthetic for you.
Oh,
Didn't
that's
y'all have-
exactly that's
Didn't y'all have
exactly
a
what it
left-handed
is.
quarterback for a time.
Probably, I don't know. I'm
Was
Brett
Culpepper
Favre.
Teddy
was he a lefty?
Bridgewater sounds like
No,
he's
Culpepper
left-handed.
was right.
Okay. Who am I thinking of? Was Vince Young? Vince Young was a lefty, right?
No, he wasn't. Was he?
No.
I don't think so.
All right. I don't know. I've got it mixed up, but I think the Vikings are moving up. I don't think that you make that trade if you're not moving up for a quarterback.
I don't think you make there. You're talking about getting the first round pick from.
Yeah.
I don't think you make that trade if you're not thinking about it. I think if someone, I don't know. I think they'd be fine just sitting at 11 and 23. But now that they have 11 and 23, that gives them a variety of options that they didn't have before. So I think they'd be content with writing out just Sam Darnold on a 1-year deal. Because if he sucks, then you get a top 5 pick and you go, well, I guess Shadur Sanders is not going to a cold city, so not him.
Is that what he said?
I'm out on it. No, that's what Dion said.
Oh.
But
Half the cold cities have a dome anyways.
yeah, right. I'm sort of out on him anyways. But like, if Sam Darnold sucks, you're gonna have a top 10 pick, and you're gonna be in the same situation next year. So I don't really see a problem with just sitting put at 11 and 23. And if
They're not
JJ's
going
there,
to, though.
I don't think they are either. I think they're trading up.
I think so, too.
I'd be okay with a trade up for Drake May. A trade up for JJ would be hard to swallow, I think. And I hope that this soundbite comes back to haunt me in 5 years.
I'm sure you do.
I don't trust JJ at all.
Well, Harbaugh didn't either. So,
Right.
what a freaking move by Harbaugh. Gets hired by the Chargers and then talks up his old quarterbacks. So quarterbacks go 1 through 4, and he can draft Marvin Harrison Jr. at 5 and live life prosperous. Or I guess they're in LA, not San Diego. But
Well, they're going to need someone to throw to. So.
masterclass by Harbaugh.
You really, I would be shocked. Well, I'd be shocked for 2 reasons. If Marvin Harrison doesn't go number 4 to Arizona, which, I mean, I guess there is some talk that it could be Neighbors. Like, a lot of teams have Neighbors as number 1.
Yeah.
But if Harbaugh doesn't go with a offensive lineman, because that's just like, he's just, we're going to run the football. We're going to get physical. Like, that's just his style. You know what I mean?
I would take Blake Corum off the table at 5.
That would be so funny.
I kind of wish the Vikings would get him, and I don't think they have a 2nd round pick anymore. But or maybe they don't have a 3rd round pick. They have a 2nd round pick. If they went and got him in the 2nd round, I'd be pretty content with that.
Yeah.
I think he's good.
I think he's good too, but yeah, I mean he's better than Gus Edwards.
Gus Bus.
I just made a bet with a coworker that the Chargers weren't going to win 11 games. He thinks they're going to win
What
11
side
games.
are you? Oh, that's not happening.
No, I don't think so either.
11 games in the AFC West? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They're not winning
I'm on your side
9
there.
games.
No, they're not.
They could. They won't.
I mean, I don't think Jim Harbaugh is a good coach, to be honest. I don't like the hiring. I don't like what he's done so far. I think he can coach boys, but I mean, did you see
Coach
the
little boys like P Diddy.
Did you see oh no.
Oh gosh.
I'm gonna move on from that.
Please do. Let's get another winner or loser in here.
Well, you see that Harbaugh's checking up on Justin Herbert like every day, like just texting him, like, "Hey, how you doing today? You doing okay?"
I feel like
Like,
that'd get annoying.
yeah, I think so too. I mean, Herbert's not gonna say anything because he's introverted, but
Also, I can't imagine Jim Harbaugh texting anyone and saying, "Are you doing okay?" Like,
well, he said that he like checks up on him every.
does he
single
even
day.
ask his wife that? Like, I just
I think
If
football
the
team's more
Chargers
important than
take
his wife is.
JJ at 5, and I would be okay with the Vikings giving up next year's first for Herbert.
Yeah, that'd be
There are
sweet.
sure
two
you would
firsts this
be.
year and a first year next year. Sure, go ahead. There,
I'm sure you would be.
Dude, I had to plummet Justin Herbert down my rankings, and it made me really sad.
Yeah.
So I had
him
that as
the
a
third
loser.
quarterback.
I had that as a loser for this offseason was anyone who had Justin Herbert in fantasy.
Yeah, he's
Like
throwing to
specifically
Quentin Johnson
Dynasty.
and Josh Palmer.
And Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh, hopefully.
So I heard there's been a lot of smoke around like neighbors jumping Harrison. The best that I've seen, like the best comparison is like Marvin Harrison is Larry Fitzgerald, where he's going to be great for a long time, but Neighbors plays more like Tyreek Hill,
Mm-hmm.
where he can go off for 50 like a 50-yard touchdown any second.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like a matter of what you have versus what you want. And I think for like the Chargers, I think obviously Marvin Harrison is probably a better option there. But I'm excited to see where Neighbors ends up because if he ends up in Chicago, I'm scared.
Oh, yeah, I would be too. If I were to compare them, not the same school scout, but Neighbors seems a lot like Jamar Chase to me.
Yeah.
Like has that run after the catch ability and like is just really good at everything.
Mm.
Marvin Harrison, he feels like Calvin Johnson.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean maybe not like
MVP level then.
I think he's incredible at everything. I mean Calvin Johnson would catch everything in his vicinity. I don't think Marvin Harrison does that. But I mean he's just extremely good at everything. So I'm excited to see where they go. And Odunze is good too. We should have a rookie show soon.
Oh, I mean, I'm so excited for this draft. I think the wide receiver class is super deep, and the quarterback class is the most exciting it's been since the Trubisky year. And, I'm excited. I rarely get excited for drafts because they're kind of like lame or whatever. But this one, I like. You have no idea who's gonna jump up into the top 5 for JJ McCarthy or whatever. So,
kind of wish the Lions were picking top 5 again. Feel like I'm missing something.
So Trent, give me a winner or a loser. What's one that you've got?
Winner Cowboys. That's an easy one. Loser. They didn't do anything. Sorry, Andrew, but
no, I'm so emotionally detached from the Cowboys at this point. Like,
I mean, they added Eric Kendricks, a guy that the last place Minnesota Vikings defense didn't even want. So, and they lost like 8-time Pro Bowl Tyrone Smith and
Van Der Esch is gone too.
Yeah, Van Der Esch is gone.
Okay,
I don't know, man. I mean, they gained the devil, so Mike Zimmer. There's something there. It's just shocking to me that like when he got fired from Minnesota, people like were sending within the organization were sending people texts like the devil is gone. Like those are real things. Like you can Google it.
I remember.
That dude still got a job in the NFL. After people like, man, resumes don't mean crap in the NFL.
Cowboys should bring in Matt Patricia and who's the guy from the Matt Nagy, and just complete the NFC North.
Oh my,
dude. Okay, so walk with me. You both love a good conspiracy theory, so just walk with me on this, okay?
Facts.
You're saying that because I'm Republican.
Okay. That's a good line. All right, so I just retweeted this. So if you want to go on my Twitter, you can find it. You guys, you don't have to read it now, because it's a long Twitter thread. But this guy laid out. He had this long thread of basically why aren't the Cowboys spending money on players? Because I saw a tweet the other day that was like the teams that have spent the least this offseason, including like re-signing your own guys. So not just like free agents, but in like re-signing your own guys. And the Cowboys have spent like 11 million, and the next lowest team was at like 30. And this guy put together this thread. His name's Joey Ikes on Twitter. He used to be a Cowboys writer. Now I think he just, does it for fun, and he's got a, professional job. But he lays out that basically the Jones family, they don't just own the Cowboys. They have a very diverse portfolio of investments, from oil and gas to real estate to commercial, whatever. And he says that you can go back through like the past several years, and basically the Jones, they have their own budget of essentially $200 million of cash that they're going to spend on the Cowboys each year. And you can go and look at the total cash spending over the past several years, and it's like 194 million, 197 million, 191 million. And it's like they never surpassed that $200 million threshold. And it's like, that's why they operate in a way that they do, where like they could have, on Dak's first contract extension, they could have signed him, or they should have signed him 2 years earlier than they did, and it got more expensive. But the reason they were fine to wait that long is because they were waiting for some other contracts to come off the book so they wouldn't go over their budgeted amount for the Cowboys. And
so you're telling me that Jerry Jones has the envelope system?
Yes, exactly. Jerry Jones is a Dave Ramsey truther. That's the TLDR of this thread essentially. I'm just so sick of them. Like, I can't express to you in enough words how much the Rangers winning the World Series has done for my sports fandom as a whole, because I can be so emotionally detached from the Cowboys and be like, oh, well, they're run by a whack job, so whatever happens. They're going to get embarrassed in the playoffs. But, oh, hey, the Rangers won the World Series. Like, I always have that to, lay my head on as I go to bed every night.
You're wearing the hat right now.
I am. I'm not wearing any Cowboys apparel. I wear this Rangers hat all the time. So the Cowboys are the biggest loser of the NFL offseason. And whatever, I think their line for wins this year was like 10 or 10.5. I think you take the under. And they're going to fire Mike McCarthy at the end of this year. They'll bring in some, old school coach, because that's what they do. It's not going to be sexy. It's not going to be exciting. They're going to win regular season games. They're going to lose in the first or second round of the playoffs. And Jerry Jones will be happy because he's going to be spending up to $200 million a year and continue to get a nice ROI on his investment. And the fans will continue to suffer. So I don't know. I'm done with them. They're just, yeah.
Well, conspiracy theories aside, they paid Dak too much.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, I think they did. Like this, if they had a budget for like signing Amari Cooper again and signing all their players again, I think they'd be in a better spot. But you got to pay Dak that much.
I just refuse to believe that. I just think, I don't know.
I mean,
their big mistake, honestly, their big mistake, what it can be tracked back to in recent years.
Taco Charlton.
No, not even that. I mean, that was a big mistake. Was trading Amari Cooper for a 6th-round pick because you didn't like his current contract and you didn't like how difficult he was to deal with about the COVID vaccine.
What does that even mean? Was he not vaxxed?
He wasn't vaxxed, and he had to miss out on like some practices. and the Jones family thought he was a headache to deal with during that time, and so they shipped him out for a 5th or a 6th round pick.
I didn't know that was the reason.
The reason, it wasn't just the monetary aspect. It was the Jones family thought that Amari Cooper was difficult to deal with.
He doesn't have cancer, so.
So they shipped him out to Cleveland. And
which might be worse than cancer.
oh gosh.
I mean, show me the lie.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't know. Do y'all have any other thoughts on the Cowboys? I'm
Are they
so
moving on
over
from
them.
Dak?
Yeah. He's going to play out this year. He's going to sign Matthew Stafford's going to retire. He's going to go sign a contract with the Rams and at least make it to a Super Bowl in 2 years with Sean McVay.
I don't know. I think he's going to have a really good year this year for a contract year, then go somewhere else and be irrelevant.
He probably will, but
I mean, it's surprising though, because I feel like we were having the same conversation last contract season with Dak. There's so much smoke about them tagging and trading him and just letting him walk altogether, and then they didn't. So I don't know. Maybe it's a bunch of fluff.
I don't know. I'm done taking them seriously as an organization. And whatever happens, happens. Maybe I'll root for the Lions and the Vikings, and I'll just root for all my friends' teams on Sundays and just want you guys to be happy. And then if I'm ever like, oh man, I miss caring about the Cowboys, I'll just pull up the clip of Corey Seager hitting the tying home run in the 9th inning of Game 1 in the World Series, and I'll just smile, and that'll be okay. All right,
I've got talk about a winner.
Yeah, I've got one.
You can go first.
All the pass catchers in Atlanta, because they have Kirk Cousins throwing them the football.
Too soon.
And I do want to get Trent's thoughts if he's emotionally ready to talk about it. If not, this can be a Andrew and Rosie conversation. But
I'm very sad. This is the first time I've been able to talk about it on the podcast, but
you're holding it together pretty well.
Yeah, I cried a little bit. I really thought he was going to come back, but once you found out, his wife's family's from Atlanta. Atlanta offered him 4 years, which is insane for a 34, 36-year-old quarterback. It sounded like he wanted to be in Minnesota. O'Connell really wanted him in Minnesota, but Kwesi wasn't willing to go past a year-by-year thing. So, I mean, if I'm Kirk, I'm taking the Atlanta job too. So I don't really blame Kirk, even though there's definitely some tampering going on there, and we'll see what the NFL decides after that. But I am very sad about Kirk Cousins not being my quarterback. I will be cheering for Atlanta this year. I decided that.
Really?
Yeah, I'm still a Vikings fan, but might be taking a break because I think the Falcons are going to be really good.
It's kind of like a Stafford situation.
Yeah, not as much. 'Cause Stafford meant more to Detroit than Kirk did Minnesota.
Right.
For sure. But I don't know. I love Kirk Cousins. And
I think this is good for everyone, though.
I'm really sad about it. And yeah, it is good for everyone because it was going to happen eventually. The Vikings were going to be a perennial 7th seed or whatever, 6 through 8 seed with Kirk Cousins. Could they have won the Super Bowl? I think if Kirk stayed, this would be the only year they would be able to because of the strength of schedule is so weak. So they would have gotten a high seed and easy opponent in round 1. But I think it was time to move on. I've come to terms with it. I still have my Kirk Cousins shrine over there on my left. I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
You have to keep it up.
Yeah.
Leave it up for a while at least.
Don't be sad that it's over. Be happy that it happened.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because Kirk Cousins, spending his twilight years in Atlanta, it doesn't erase all the fond memories you have of him in Minnesota. And it's
And I still
okay.
get to see him on vacation.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
And
bros.
Yeah, we're BFFs, BFFLs.
yeah,
We like the same restaurants. That's great.
and it's not like he went and signed with the Packers or something. Like you have
This is true.
no negative energy towards Atlanta.
And I like Atlanta. I've been once. And he
I
said he
Outkast.
wants his kid. What?
Outkast, the Andre 3000 rap group.
Okay. Nope, don't know.
Hey Ya, Hey Ya.
Okay, I do know. Hey, yeah.
Heard of that one.
Yep, I've heard of that one.
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Okay.
I'm for real.
See, Outkast. Yeah, they're Atlanta.
I'm so bad at names. Anyways, his wife's family's from there. He wanted his kids to go to school and stay in the school. Like he's got young kids that are first, second, kindergarten, whatever. So I mean, just Kirk being a dad, man. It sucks that he's not a Viking, but he'll always be a dad. So
I heard there's 10 more Coles in Atlanta than in Minneapolis, so
I
I'm sure that
believe it.
factored in.
Yeah, I believe it. Minneapolis is not a good. I have to go to Minneapolis twice in April. I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, so okay, Rosie, I'll ask you this as a fantasy question. Who moved
Drake
up
London.
more in okay.
I love
here,
Drake
then let's
London so much.
Yeah.
He's probably a top 10 dynasty receiver for me now.
So when there was rumor, right when the season ended, there were rumors Atlanta might be interested in Kirk. I went and traded Jordan Addison for Drake London straight up, and I don't know. It's just
They're close because I love Addison too, and I want to see what they do in the draft. But Drake London is a really good wide receiver, and we haven't seen it. He had one game last year where he went 150 plus yards, and they finally featured him. Arthur Smith was letting what's his name, the tight end.
Johnny Smith.
Yeah, Jonnu Smith, and just Olamide Zacchaeus,
Cordell Patterson,
bunch of random dudes. And Desmond Ridder was probably the worst quarterback in the NFL last year as well. Watching him play was horrendous.
He was so bad.
Where did they traded him? Where did they trade him to?
He's with the Cardinals now.
Okay.
Oh, that's right.
I think they traded him straight up for Rondale Moore.
That's right. Yes, it was a rare 1-for-1 player swap. Forgot about that.
So, I mean, stocks up for Drake London. If you can get him on the cheap, I mean, he's going to be more expensive now than he was, but I think he's the next coming of Mike Evans.
Who, and either of you can answer this, who do you think had a sneaky good offseason? They're not dominating the headlines, but you look at all their moves and you're like, you know what? They're underrated. They've really set themselves up for a good 2024-25 season.
Well, not necessarily a good 2024 season, but I would say the Panthers. I like some of the moves that they made. Getting Deontay Johnson for a 6th-round pick, is Deontay one of the best receivers in the NFL? No, but he is probably at least 30 times better than the guy that they had in Carolina before he got there. And so now Bryce Young has someone to throw to. They also signed Robert Hunt, really great guard, but they just need bodies on that line, and I think they did a pretty good job. I mean, knowing their situation, like they don't have a first round pick and they don't have a lot of cap space, like I think they did a good job of trying their best to build around Bryce Young.
Okay. Trent, what about you?
I like what Minnesota did, for what it's worth. For what it's worth, I think they got better on defense. They went and got Jonathan Greenard and Van Ginkel.
Van Ginkel's a great signing.
I agree. And even Blake Cashman too. I think they got
That was also a great signing.
I think they got much better on defense. And I alluded to this earlier. I've drank the Sam Darnold Kool-Aid. That dude has never been on. He's been on nothing but dumpster fires his entire career. He's been in the NFL for 7 years. He's 26 years old.
He's gonna be awful. I'm sorry. Like he's gonna be really
I
bad.
don't think he's going to be terrible. I think he's going to be adequate,
He's gonna do what Nick Mullins did last year.
which is fine. That's fun football. Are you kidding me? 400 yards, 4 interceptions, and 4 touchdowns. Sign me up any day of the week. But
Getting
I
Aaron
don't-
Jones too, like that's
so I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Because when was the last time Aaron Jones played a full season?
2 years ago.
Yeah, and he's old, so like he's not getting healthier.
Yeah.
He's much better than Alexander Madison, I'll tell you that much. But I think they're gonna ride Ty
I mean-
Chandler, ride Ty Chandler a lot, and Aaron Jones will supplement Ty Chandler. But I think the Vikings had a sneaky good offseason. It wouldn't surprise me if they make a wild card. I don't think they can contend for. I think a wild card is their ceiling. I don't think they can contend for the division, but they can. I think they can make the playoffs if everything goes their way.
So this isn't, I wouldn't say this is sneaky because they've had a lot of, I'd say, public moves, like they've been talked about a lot. But just a team who I think they've had a really good offseason is Chicago.
No,
No?
Yeah,
no,
I disagree.
I hate everything they did.
Why?
Let's go get a 30-year-old wide receiver and make our team better.
Let's go get someone who's still a good route runner. He's still good, and he's got 1 year left on his deal for your rookie quarterback to throw to.
I think this is good for a team that is they're making moves to make a push for the Super Bowl. The Bears aren't there, so Keenan Allen going here is completely wasted.
I completely disagree. These are moves you make to try and give your rookie first overall pick quarterback infrastructure around him to succeed. They're doing something that they haven't done.
Go get linemen for that. Their line still sucks.
Well, they still have the 9th overall pick. They can go take, whoever the best tackle is with that pick.
No, they won't, because they're the Bears. They'll take a wide receiver probably, because they just got.
Well, now they don't have to take a wide receiver because you have Keenan Allen, you have
Yes,
DJ
they
Moore.
do. Keenan Allen doesn't play a full season either.
But he's not your number one. He's your number two. You still have DJ Moore.
We're still on that.
DJ Moore's good. What are you talking about?
He's pretty good.
He's fine. He's not a wide receiver one.
I hate the Swift signing too. I think that was a big mistake.
So this is one thing I did read about, like those two signings in particular. Keenan Allen and DeAndre Swift both absolutely torched the Vikings last year. So if you can get players that torched your opponent that you played twice a year, okay, see what happens. But
and then again, selling Fields for a 6th round pick. They
That's
played
funny.
that completely wrong.
that just makes me laugh.
Yeah, I like that they're trying to give Caleb Williams people around him to set him up for success. Like I don't like the teams, like I hate what Carolina did with Bryce Young, where they were setting him up to fail in his rookie year. And so at least Chicago is saying, no, we're gonna be different. We're gonna actually try to give this guy a good team around him so that if he is good, he can succeed, and if he's not good, we know he's not good. And for that reason, I really like what they did.
Yeah, I get that, I guess. It's just, I think the moves they made were just kind of weird.
Well, I mean, they still have some good draft picks. So, I mean, their offseason's not done, but I don't know. I think it's a step in the right direction. So I like what they did.
Can we talk about the Lions a little bit?
Sure.
Go for it.
Because I think they had a really good offseason, too. They actually made moves for the first time in the Dan Campbell era. They signed DJ Reader, who was the best defensive tackle on the market.
False. Oh, defensive tackle. Yes. Sorry.
I think Wilkinson, actually, he might be better. But, I mean, DJ Reader's just a huge monster run stuffer who's just going to fit so well on that line. And then I think my favorite move is they signed Kevin Zeitler and Graham Glasgow for less than half of the money this year that the Rams paid to Jonah Jackson, who was their old guard. So, I mean, you take... I mean, Jonah Jackson's been injured the last 2 years and really hasn't been all that good. You replace him with two guys for half the money who are probably better than him, which it's incredible. And one thing that's even better is Cam Sutton is now off the team. I mean, they can't lose. I think he will count like half of the cap that he's owed will count against the Lions, but man, they needed to cut him anyway. So it's just a blessing.
I mean, I think the Lions. I think the Lions are going to be good. Like, I think that they made a lot of kind of small moves, which is what you need whenever you just won a playoff game. You just made a decent playoff run, and you're competitive again. Like, this is where you kind of fill in the gaps and you try to shore up any holes that you might have, so that when you go into the draft, you've got options at every pick. So they're doing what smart teams do, which must feel really good for you as a Lions fan.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is they're going into the draft not needing anything in particular. I mean, another cornerback would be nice, but they don't need it. They have better guys than they did last year. So hopefully no more Vildor on the field.
What do you think is going to be the devalued position that they're going to draft in the first round that everyone's going to scratch their heads about, and then it's going to end up being a good contributing player? Because like last year they took a running back and a linebacker both in the first round, and both of those worked out pretty well, I would say. So like
I can see them trying to get another defensive tackle.
Okay.
I can't remember the guy's name, but they're in love with some defensive tackle, and if he falls to them, I think they would take him, even though they have Ali McNeil, DJ Reader, and a couple other guys. And they have spots. I mean, edge would be nice. I wish they could get edge, but I mean, Brad Holmes is just going to do whatever Brad Holmes does. Like, I don't agree with it all the time, because I don't think Gibbs or Jack Campbell were good picks. And like, yeah, Gibbs is great now, but Jack Campbell is probably the third best linebacker on the team. So yeah, I'm still going to criticize them for doing what they do, but they're good at making picks, I think. So,
all right, I've got a winner, and it is fans of kickoffs. Did y'all see the new rule change that got approved by the NFL owners that's going to take place this season?
Y'all like this?
I love it.
This takes away kickoffs.
Yeah, I don't know why you said fans of kickoffs.
What do you mean it takes away kickoffs?
Exactly what he said. It takes away kickoffs.
Make the case, because I disagree.
Hey, explain the new rule really quick.
Okay, so the new rule is basically the kicker is still going to line up on the 35, but then the other 10 players on the kickoff team are going to line up on the opposing 40-yard line. Okay, they're all going to be in a straight line. But those 10 players cannot leave until the ball hits the ground. So they have to wait for the ball to hit the ground before they can leave the 40-yard line. Okay? The receiving team's going to have, I believe it's up to 7 players in quote unquote the setup zone, which is basically between their own 30 and 35 yard line. Okay. So they're going to be within 5 to 10 yards of the kicking team. Okay. And they can't move until the ball also hits the ground. Everyone else will be the return men. They'll be, in the end zone, 5 yard line or whatever. If the ball lands between the 20 and the end zone, if the ball, the first time the ball touches the ground, if it lands basically short of the end zone, the returning team has to return it. So even if it bounces and rolls into the end zone and they catch it in the end zone, they have to take it out. They can't just down it, take a knee, whatever. Okay.
Yeah, I did not know that part.
So if they do, if let's say it bounces, it rolls into the end zone and they decide to down it, they only get it at the 20. They don't get it at the 25.
Man.
But
Game changing.
let's see, if it goes into the end zone and stays inbounds, kickoffs that go into the end zone and stay inbounds that are down would give the receiving team the ball at their own 30-yard line. Kickoffs that go out of the back of the end zone would be a touchback at the receiving team's 30-yard line.
Also, they move that up to the 30 too.
Mm-hmm. So the kickoff team is going to have the reason why I think kickoffs are going to be more exciting is because if you're kicking, you have less of an incentive to just kick it out of the end zone. Because if you kick it out of the end zone, they get it at the 30. And so you're actually going to see kickers try to get it to land at the 5 or the 7 and give their kickoff, their gunners basically a chance to go tackle him inside the 20 or inside the 25. And so I think you're going to see more action on kickoffs because now it's less advantageous for the kicker just to line up, kick it through the opposite uprights, and then you get the ball at the 25. So I don't know. I remember that first season, the XFL, when they did this, and you saw more exciting kickoffs, you saw more exciting returns. And so I imagine you're going to see that in the NFL, but I guess we'll see this first year.
Okay, I didn't know the full extent of the rules. I guess that's pretty... I mean, what I don't like about it is you're getting rid of the surprise onside kick.
Yeah, I don't like that, but that's separate, right?
That happens twice a year.
That's a separate rule.
Well, so you have to declare whether you're doing an onside kick or not.
Yeah.
Which that basically takes away the onside kick.
And I don't like that. What I like is the new kickoff rules in terms of, the different penalties and like what I just laid out. I don't like the no surprise onside kick, so I agree with you there. So,
well, while we're on the rules, would y'all want to talk about the hip drop tackle?
I don't know enough about it to have an opinion. So
you know what it is, right?
Yeah, I know what it is. I just don't know how you're gonna tackle someone from behind anymore. It doesn't. I don't know.
What's your opinion, Rosie?
Initially, I was all for them banning the hip drop tackle. Shout out Tony Pollard.
Yeah.
Ruined his career, and I think you saw a ton of injuries last year. You had the one guy for the Bengals who took out Mark Andrews, took out another player back to back in the same game with the hip drop. So I'm fine with them getting rid of it. My only problem is that they were extremely bad at identifying what actually is a hip drop.
Yeah.
I think
I've watched a bunch of videos on Twitter and I still don't know what's a hip drop and what's just a regular behind tackle.
To me, a hip drop would be you grab them by the waist and then you swing your hips into their legs to crush their legs. Yeah. And I think that's when it can get dangerous. But what's going to happen is some guy's going to reach out, tackle him by the hips and not swing at all and just tackle him. And they're going to call that a hip drop, which I'm not looking forward to. They're going to handle it. It's going to be
a fourth and 30. Patrick Mahomes is going to do a dump off, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, hip drop tackle behind the line of scrimmage, first down Chiefs.
CEH is actually on the Cowboys now.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Of course
Oh
he
my!
is.
I didn't know that.
Of course he is. Makes sense. So I did see a tweet about this that said the league felt strongly. This was from Jory Epstein. The league felt strongly about this after data showed 20 to 25 times injury rate versus other tackles.
Which I'm fine with, as long as like the refs and they know what a hip drop tackle is, because I mean I have an idea of what it is, but I don't really. I don't know. I'm talking like
I mean, that's fair.
I
It's
don't
got to
want to
be
be a
clearly
ref.
defined.
I don't want to be a ref in this situation.
Yeah, it's got to be clearly defined. Um,
I think it has to be like egregious. I think that's the problem with a lot of how the NFL is reffed is they call things by the book, and I think there has to be like like with the uh illegal contact or what roughing the passer.
roughing the passer.
You got there.
Sorry,
I was coming to your help. Yep.
Thanks. But like with roughing the passer, there's so many times where it's not egregious at all, and I think that has to be built into the rule to make it fair. And it's gonna the hip drop tackle penalty is gonna be exactly like the roughing the passer rule. Like they're just gonna call it all the time when it's not gonna make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I think we'll see how it goes this first year, right? Because it could be a thing to where, like, I know the NBA is really bad about this, where like they'll have some rule change and they'll enforce it for like the first month, and then they just go back to calling the game the way they used to. So I'm going to be really curious to see how this actually changed the way games are officiated. Because if, like, to your point, if they're only calling like the really egregious ones, then I can't see anyone having a problem with it.
Right.
But if they're calling basically any tackle from behind, then yeah, I think you've got a problem. All right. The last winner that I had, just, for our guy Alex here, it's got to be Baker Mayfield. Securing a $100 million contract. Quarterbacks going to a second team that's not the team they drafted them and getting like a long-term deal from them is very, very rare. It's basically Baker Mayfield, Kirk Cousins, Ryan Tannehill. Like, the list is not very long of guys who have gone to a team that's not the team that drafted them and like has had what you would define as like a successful career.
Do we count Drew Brees? I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I don't know. But good for him. It seems like he likes being in Tampa. It seems like Tampa likes having him. So if the two sides are happy, cool. Do y'all have any other winners or losers or anything else from the NFL offseason?
Kirk Cousins is a winner.
We kind of talked about him.
Yeah, I know, but
we haven't mentioned him yet on the podcast.
Yeah, he went and got 4 years. Good for him.
I think Trevor Lawrence is kind of a loser in this one
because
you trade Calvin Ridley for, or you're not trading, but you get Gabe Davis instead of Calvin Ridley. As big of a fan of Gabe Davis as I was, he doesn't seem like the guy that can step up and be the number one receiver that they need. And if they don't draft someone, I think you're going to get a lot of the same as last year, which is Trevor Lawrence being inconsistent.
Man, I was so high on the Jags coming into last year. And I'm just like, man, I'm not going to be fooled again. Like, it's at the point with them where it's like, fool me wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like, prove me wrong, I guess. But
I think the Giants are losers too.
I think
they
so
got
too.
Brian Burns.
Yeah, but they lost Saquon Barkley, the best running back of the game, when healthy.
If I'm the Giants, I could give two craps about running back.
Giants fans are losers because they lost Saquon Barkley. Because say what you will about the valuation of running backs, That dude's fun to watch on Sundays.
I mean, he's been like average last couple of years since his big injury.
Yeah, I guess it's true. But
Yeah, he's still fun. Just
Packers
he's
are
a good vibes guy.
because they're Packers are losers because they have to wake up in freaking Green Bay every day.
Also, you trade away Aaron Jones to get Josh Jacobs. I don't really understand that, and that's like your one big move.
Yeah, I kind of like that for them though. I think Josh Jacobs is better than Aaron Jones. Younger for sure.
Yeah,
Aaron Jones is more dynamic and definitely more injury prone.
Titans.
But-
I like what the Titans did, getting
Oh,
Calvin
they-
Ridley and
Yeah.
Snead on the cheap. Like giving Will Levis a chance, and if Will Levis sucks, then they can have a top 5 pick next year.
Yeah, that's true. All right, guys. Anything else from the NFL offseason?
Sean Payton's dirtbag.
Somebody
Good
find
story.
Cam Sutton.
Who gets found first, Cam Sutton or Diddy?
They might be on the run together.
I was gonna say I think Diddy's in Miami. I think they found him already.
I saw he was at the airport, but
I don't think I think they discovered that he wasn't on that airplane that went to
yeah.
smoke screen, just like the Washington
The
State
diddler.
J.J. McCarthy too.
All right, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Making the Call. Trent, it's time for the weekly dad joke.
Okay.
Wait, can I shout out Trent really quick?
Sure.
He's been incredible at his sleeper bets.
Oh my gosh!
I
Dude,
mean,
I'm
just-
so lucky. I need to put more than $2 on these bets.
Well, we got a line going right now, and it's 2 to win $73, and it's looking okay. So
Does that mean 2 people have goals or 1 person has a goal?
3 people have goals.
Oh, I saw Nylander and
Reinhardt.
had one.
Yeah, McKinnon got one too now. So
All right.
it's looking pretty good.
Breaking
See what
news.
happens.
Jordan Montgomery signed a deal with the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Ooh. Yikes.
1 year, $25 million contract with a vesting option for $25 million in 2025. I'm sad. I really, really, really liked him on the Rangers. All right, give us a dad joke.
How did the tree stay in shape?
Ooh.
I
I know.
They leave it to. No, I don't know. I'm trying.
They do planks.
I wouldn't have gotten there.
Nope.
Yeah,
neither.
that was a bad one. Mountains aren't just funny; they're hilarious.
I hated that one. Read it again.
Mountains aren't. Fuck! I lost it. Crap! I lost it. Why
Yeah,
are
there you
snails bad at racing? They
Why?
can be sluggish.
All right, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Making the Call. We almost made it without having to cut any cuss words out. We needed another 30 more seconds and we would have been out of here nice and clean, but that is okay. Thank you
You're welcome.
to Trent and Rosie for hopping on this week. Thank you to everyone who tuned in on the YouTube. Thank you to everyone who's listening to us or watching us on Spotify, because we have video podcasts now on Spotify. Or if you're listening to us on Apple, that's cool too. But if you want to see our lovely faces and you don't tune in live on the YouTube, go to the Spotify app and you can watch our video podcast every single week. We will be back next Monday. We'll be back on our regular Monday schedules next week. And moving forward throughout the NFL offseason and everything, we'll be breaking down. I don't know who we're going to have next week. I need to send out the text, see who's available. But we'll have a fun show for you next week.
Me.
We'll have Rosie. We know that's for sure. There you go.
Fantasy time, baby. It's
Fantasy time.
It's
Fantasy-
dynasty season.
Fantasy segment with Rosie. That's our tease. So I hope everyone has a fantastic rest of the week. and we will see you next time.
We'll see you the next time the call comes in.
Hey, that's a
You are sent.
callback. Nice. No lie, I think I killed my fantasy baseball draft. I think I did really good.
You're already
You
done.
have Corey
Yeah.
Seager.
No, he got sniped from me. But I did grab Mike Trout in like the 12th round, which felt like a steal.
Is he injured or something? What do we not know? What do they not know?
No, he's healthy. I think he's going to have a hey, don't forget about me kind of season.
Sort of agree.
And I got Evan Carter and Wyatt Langford on my bench. Cuz that's fun.
Trent, what are some other betting?
I only use Sleeper right now. I use Sleeper and Bovada.
I can refer you.
I had Prize Picks but I ran out of money on Prize Picks. But honestly, it's just like Sleeper. So
Yeah. Hold on.
Andrew,
Can
give
I-
me the Bovada
no,
referral.
I want.
And Trent,
Bovada
give me the
referral.
prize picks.
No, I want Bovada. Andrew don't even have Bovada.
No, I do. I just don't have any money in it.
I actually don't know if there is a referral for Bovada.
I think there
Um,
is.